This lesson is going to be about the role of the mass media in crime and deviance, moral panic, that sort of thing. But first off is a quiz on the previous lesson about interactionism, Becker, that sort of thing. Read the questions. If you don't know the answer, you know what to do. So, moral panics. Yeah, moral panics. Quite a few times in class. Going to talk about the role of the media in our perceptions of crime. Here's the key word: scapegoat, demonize, yeah, that sort of thing. So, this work comes from Stan Cohen. His famous book, Folk, Devils and Moral Panics. It's been reprinted a number of times. Stan Cohen was an interactionist, small-scale stuff. And Cohen, his original work was on mods and rockers. The first moral panic he described was mods and rockers in the 60s. People think, oh, it's the end of the world. Young people are out of control. They're being photographed, they're being filmed, they're fighting on Brighton Beach, mods and rockers. And from that, Cohen developed the idea of the folk devil. The folk devil is the group that gets blamed for society's breaking down. And the moral panic is what happens around them. So it could be mods and rockers, teenage mothers, witchcraft, satanic abuse, video games, emos and goths committing suicide. Whatever it is, you get a small, powerless group, and the elite decide they're the problem. Yeah? Now let's go through it step by step as a way of demonstrating this. Step-by-step guide. A problem is identified. We're going to use knife crime as our example. So stories get in the press about knife crime, about a knife murder. The editor, the gatekeeper, the person in charge of the media thinks, oh, lots of people are interested in that, it has high news value, then tells their reporters to find them more stories like that. So more stories appear. Because there's so many stories, people get worried. Particularly it's usually a youth subculture that gets picked on as the trouble, in this case, young black men. People become scared, oh, young black men have all got knives. I've seen it in the media all the time. The next stage, Cohen said, is the government and the police respond. They have to do something about it. They have a knife amnesty, you hand in your knife. They have a knife arch, a metal detector. The point is to make it look like you're doing something. And then that gets in the press. And then, because the police are concentrating on that crime for a while, more people are caught. So more stories appear in the press, and the panic gets worse and worse and worse. It carries on, it perpetuates itself. And it can become a self-fulfilling prophecy. It can cause something called deviance amplification. Let's stick with knife crime. If you are constantly bombarded in the media by stories, the young black men carry knives. If you're a young black man and hasn't got a knife, you might think you better carry one because everyone else has got one. The media can make the crime worse. Deviance amplification. So that's the moral panic thing. It's not the only thing that the media concentrate with media and crime. Some people focus on the role of the mass media in encouraging violence, from things like Power Rangers for little kids, encourage them to be violent, to violent movies like Saw, the fact that on Netflix and YouTube people have access to untold numbers of violent images, and the idea is maybe that's making them violent. There is no evidence that is true, but that is a concern people have. Functionalists are very interested in the role of the mass media in crime, and they say it largely serves a positive purpose. It tells us when people are committing crime and that they have been caught and punished. So functionalists help society run smoothly by letting us know there is crime, but it's being dealt with. The people who commit the crime are going to be punished, and that helps society run smoothly. And finally, Marxists have taken the idea of moral panics and run with it. They say it's not a random choice. The folk devil group is a small, powerless, working class group and gets demonized to distract attention from the wider society's problems. So in the 60s, it's the mods and the rockers. Today, it's drill music. What these groups have all got in common is they are working class youth. So you pick on them as a way of distracting us from the real cause of our problems, which is capitalism. That is how Marxists would look at things.